Welcome to Sharika Talks, Unraveling the Truth, a journalist's quest. Subscribe for the truth.
Chapter 19. The God Who Went Missing and the Name She Forgot. Sharika's head snapped up, ignoring the curious glances from other diners. The Kerala Express on September 25th, 2025? The one that was all over the news? She asked, her voice laced with an urgency that startled Nandu. I don't remember the exact date, but yeah, it was the Kerala Express. It was in the news, yes, Nandu replied, puzzled by her sudden excitement. A chill ran down Sharika's spine. I was in that train, you idiot, she said, her voice barely a whisper. My grandfather missed the cancellation SMS. She leaned forward, her eyes wide with a million questions. Who was behind the ticket cancellations and why? Nandu sighed, pushing his plate away. Look, what do you think we were? A detective agency? I told you, we were hackers for hire, doing things that were, frankly, illegal. Our clients didn't exactly hand over their life stories. The dark web is built for anonymity. Untraceable browsers, encrypted servers, crypto payments. We never knew who we were working for. But what if they were terrorists or traffickers? Sharika pressed, her voice rising with accusation. Did you see a documentary a few months ago on BBC, Shadow Tears? Of course. I saw it, Nandu shot back, a flicker of defensiveness in his eyes. The one with Kailash Satyajit. It was on all the news channels and YouTube a few months ago. Where do you think they get the precise location data of trafficking routes? From people like us. Even the cyber cell of the police department comes to us for help. Look, I needed the money, and I had no job. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's the truth. As they left the restaurant, Sharika's mind was a whirlwind of questions. Was it Sachin who had cleared that train? Or someone else? She remembered her empty compartment, the eerie silence of a train that should have been bustling with people. She was sure there were fewer than 10 other passengers on the entire train. She tried to remember their faces and how many bags they all had beside them. If it was indeed Sachin who did it, why would he go to such lengths? He only had one bag with him. It didn't make sense to orchestrate such a massive operation for a single piece of luggage. It felt like another dead end. Pushing the thought aside, she focused on the task at hand. She and Nandu made their way to the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. The structure was a breathtaking fusion of Kerala and Dravidian architecture, its towering gopuram intricately carved with 1,000 deities standing sentinel over the sacred city of Thiruvananthapuram. The air hummed with a palpable energy, a mixture of devotion and whispered legends of the immense, undisclosed treasure hidden within its secret vaults. The security was intense, cameras were forbidden, and the elite commandos of the Indian Army stood guard. Accessing the CCTV footage was out of the question. Sharika took meticulous notes, absorbing every detail she could from the outside. Nandu, ever the smooth talker, managed to charm his way into a conversation with the temple priest, which granted Sharika an interview with him. Nandu had also somehow arranged a private audience with Suryavarma, the current Prince of Travancore. Travancore is the only royal lineage in India that still has equal power on paper to the chief minister of a state, and Suryavarma is the next king in that lineage. They were led through side gates into the inner palace complex, where whitewashed corridors gave way to teakwood halls filled with oil paintings, antique maps, and centuries-old palanquins. The scent of sandalwood and jasmine floated through the air. The prince received them in a sunlit durbar room, dressed in a simple kurta with a royal pendant. He was eloquent, proud, but not arrogant. He spoke of British surveys in 1845, of royal petitions in 2011, and of the still-locked Vault B. He was there when Vault A was opened for accounts. She asked him if Marthandavarma, his ancestor, built the temple and the vaults. Something of that magnitude. Shouldn't that information have been passed down? His reply was to the point. Yes, and it did. On his deathbed, he called his predecessor Ramavarma and passed down crucial information, which may have included the contents of the vaults and how to open them. It was passed down for generations until 1810. Then King Avidam Thirunal Balaramavarma passed away at the age of 28 before his predecessor Swathi Thirunal was born. It is said that all the information and secrets were lost because of it. As they came out of the palace, Sharika was still processing the conversation. Their next stop was the Nelayapar Temple in Tirunelveli. Spanning a vast 14-acre complex, the temple felt like a city within a city. Two massive gopurams, one for Lord Shiva and one for his consort Parvati, dominated the skyline. Inside, they wandered through long pillared corridors, their footsteps echoing in the cool stone-hewn silence. The temple was famous for its musical pillars, which, when tapped, produced the distinct notes of classical Indian music, a feat of acoustic engineering that baffled modern science. Legend tells that the temple was built by a Pandya king, but its most enduring myth is of the devotion of the city itself. It's said that a poor devotee, tasked with providing rice for a ritual, left the grains to dry in the sun. When a sudden downpour threatened to wash it all away, he prayed fervently to Shiva, who then erected a fence, or veli, of paddy around the rice to protect it. It was from this miracle that the city Tirunelveli derived its name, meaning the sacred paddy hedge. Here, the atmosphere was completely different. There was no security to speak of, and she was free to film wherever she pleased. She even managed to capture the mesmerizing sight of hundreds of devotees chanting in rhythmic unison, their voices echoing off the millennium-old stone walls. The temple officials were more than happy to grant them access to the CCTV footage. When Nandu asked for the dates, he expected her to name a festival day, as she had explained to the manager. Instead, she scribbled down a series of specific dates: December 22 to 24, 2025, and January 27 to 31, 2026. Even though the CCTV system automatically deleted footage older than 6 months, Nandu was able to retrieve the deleted information using his expertise in recovery tools. Why those specific dates? Nandu asked later, his curiosity getting the better of him. Sharika hesitated for a moment before replying, "I got a tip from a source that there was a theft attempt on those dates. I need to confirm it for my documentary." There was a note of evasion in her voice that didn't escape Nandu, but he decided not to press her further. Their original plan was to head to Madurai next, but the locals and the temple priest insisted they visit the Tiruchendur temple, just a short train ride away. They spoke of a miracle that she absolutely had to film. At first, Sharika was reluctant, but then she realized that she had no idea where Sachin had been before she started tracking him. This could be a crucial piece of the puzzle. The Tiruchendur temple was a magnificent sight, a mountain of granite and intricate statues perched dramatically on the shore of the Bay of Bengal. Its 9-tiered gopuram, standing 137 feet tall, seemed to defy the ocean's might. Unlike most of Murugan's shrines, which are on hills, this one was built on the coast to commemorate his victory over the demon Surapadman. The sound of crashing waves provided a constant, powerful soundtrack to the temple's spiritual hum. It was dedicated to Murugan, the son of Lord Shiva, but it was the temple's mystery that captivated Sharika. A small well, less than 10 meters from the sea and below sea level, contained fresh water, while every other well for miles around was filled with salty, brackish water. But what truly fascinated her was the story of the main idol. Made of a special 5-metal alloy called Panchaloha, it had been stolen by the Portuguese. Their ship sank en route, and weeks later, the idol washed ashore. Some historians claimed it was a replica, placed by the temple authorities to preserve the faith of the devotees. If that were true, the original idol would still be at the bottom of the sea, a treasure that someone like Sachin wouldn't overlook. From Tiruchendur, they traveled to Madurai. The Meenakshi temple loomed before them like a celestial fortress, a psychedelic explosion of color and sculpture. Its 14 gopurams, each one a teeming vertical city of gods, goddesses, demons, and mythical beasts, seemed to touch the clouds. They filmed everything they could: the Hall of 1,000 pillars, each one exquisitely carved, the vast golden lotus tank, shimmering in the sunlight, the Anadanam ceremony, where thousands were fed for free. The air was thick with the scent of incense, jasmine, and centuries of devotion. The main deity in the temple, Meenakshi, is believed to be the daughter of a Pandya king named Malayadwaja Pandya, who died in the epic Mahabharata war. She was born with 3 breasts. The myth says that her third breast would disappear when she met her true love. This came to pass when she met Lord Shiva, and their celestial wedding is celebrated annually as the city's most important festival. Sharika chuckled thinking about the myth, but the Pandya kings back then believed they were the direct descendants of this divine couple. After much persuasion, they were granted access to the temple's CCTV footage. But to their disappointment, there had been a system upgrade the month before, and all the old hard drives were replaced. By the time they left Madurai, a clear pattern was emerging. Representatives from Deep Enterprises had indeed visited these temples, requesting to borrow archaeological artifacts for their park in Delhi. While the temple officials had refused, they had allowed them to create 3D maps of the temple architecture. So Sachin had the entire 3D blueprints of these temples, which made his work easier. From there, they decided to take another detour to the Palani Murugan temple, another place with a story of a stolen idol. Perched atop a small, craggy hill, the temple gleamed in the distance. They chose the slow, rhythmic clatter of the winch train to ascend, watching the town of Palani spread out beneath them like a tapestry. Atop the hill, inside the temple, the golden idol sat brightly, radiating blessings. But it was not that idol that had made Palani famous. The original idol, made of a rare alchemical alloy known as Navapashanam, literally 9 poisons, was said to have immense medicinal properties. Legend, attributed to the sage Bogar, who is said to have crafted it, states that when combined in a specific alchemical ratio, the 9 poisons become a powerful elixir. It is believed that Bogar is still alive, meditating inside a cave in the Palani Hill, and there is a shrine inside the temple at the entrance to that cave. No one has ever entered there, as it is sacred. The water and milk used to bathe this idol were believed to cure any disease. In 2004, citing wear and tear, the original idol was replaced with a golden one, and the Navapashanam idol was believed to have been smuggled out of the country. A court case followed, and 6 months later, the original idol was declared to be safe in a secure room within the temple. But the controversy lingered. Many believed it was just a replica. If that's true, Sharika mused, how would they even sell that idol on the black market? Who would pay more than the price of gold for that kind of ancient stuff? Nandu simply pulled out his phone, and after a few moments of furious tapping, he showed the screen to Sharika. It was a dark web auction listing. Lost Panchaloha idol from a Portuguese ship in India. Sold. Final auction price, 300 Bitcoin. So there really is an online black market, Sharika said, her mind struggling to process the information. 300 Bitcoin. How much is that? Like 700,000 rupees? Nandu looked at her as if she had just emerged from a time capsule. Are you even from this century, lady? He teased, pulling his phone back to run a quick search. The number that flashed on the screen made Sharika feel faint. 1 Bitcoin was worth 11 million rupees. That meant the idol had been sold for 3.3 billion rupees. What? She gasped, her voice barely audible. Welcome to the 21st century, Nandu said with a grin. As they boarded the train to their final destination, Tanjavur, Sharika felt a sense of dread creeping over her. She was beginning to understand the foundation upon which Deep Enterprises was built, upon something more valuable than gold. In Thanjavur, they were greeted by the Brihadiswara Temple, an architectural masterpiece of the Chola dynasty. Its colossal vimana, the main tower over the sanctum, soared 216 feet into the sky, its shadow never falling on the ground at noon. It was built entirely of granite, a testament to the ambition of its creator, Rajaraja Chola once. The capstone, a single 80-ton block of granite, sat atop the tower, a marvel of ancient engineering. It is still a wonder how they placed it there. Some historians say they built a ramp and used hundreds of elephants to drag the stone to the top. But modern physics and engineering say if such a ramp was built, it would have been more than 7 kilometers, made with stone. It is still a mystery how they did it. Legend had it that there was a secret chamber inside that granite block, its contents known only to the heir of the Chola dynasty. Sharika couldn't help but chuckle grimly at the thought that it had probably already been looted by a descendant of the Cholas or the Pandyas. It was in Thanjavur, standing atop the Kallanai Dam, that Sharika stumbled upon a piece of history she had completely overlooked. She had been so focused on the temples Sachin had visited that she had missed another, more subtle pattern hiding in these ancient kingdoms. After the reign of Karikala Chola, who built that dam in the 2nd century, the Cholas declined, and the Pallavas emerged alongside the Pandyas to claim the kingdom. Their capital was at Kanchipuram, some 100 kilometers north of Thanjavur. In the 5th century, a man was born there, the 3rd son of a Pallava king. He was never destined to rule, but he would go on to become one of the most famous men in the world from southern India, more famous than all the Cholas and Pandyas combined. How did I miss this? She muttered to herself, already booking a ticket to Kanchipuram. His name was Bodhidharma, a Pallava prince from a city renowned for its 1,000 temples and silk saris. He had grown up in the spiritual and intellectual heart of the Pallava Empire, a place of learning and immense architectural beauty, with temples like the Kailasanathar and Ikambareswarar showcasing the dawn of Dravidian temple architecture. It was from this crucible of culture and martial training that he traveled to China alone, where he became known as Damo. He pioneered Zen Buddhism, and to train his disciples physically, he taught them an ancient Indian martial art based on Kalaripayattu and Adimurai. His schools later became the legendary Shaolin temples, and he became the father of Kung Fu, the very same martial art that would later evolve into hundreds of other martial arts, including karate. Was this what Sachin was after? The roots of his own martial art? Did he travel to northeastern China through Tibet? But why not take a direct flight? She couldn't quite connect the dots. After a whirlwind tour of the Pallava Palace and the Kanchipuram temples, Sharika and Nandu parted ways at the Chennai Central Railway Station. Their detour had consumed more time than they had anticipated, so Nandu couldn't accompany her to Puri. "Don't forget the task I gave you," she said. "Keep an eye on the black market for any more temple treasures." "Roger that, Sherlock madam," he replied with a mock salute. "I'm officially the Watson to you, Miss Sharika Holmes." She gave a playful punch on the shoulder hearing it. As her train pulled out of the station, the setting sun casting long shadows across the platform, she realized she had 18 hours to her destination. For the past 2 weeks, she had been so consumed by her research and filming that she hadn't checked in on Sachin. In a way, it was for the best. It would prevent Nandu from getting suspicious. She pulled out her old Samsung phone and opened the tracking app. Sachin had started moving again. He had traveled from his stronghold in the Thar Desert to Dwarka, where he had spent 6 days offshore and in the sea. Underwater archaeology or underwater theft? She wondered. Then he had appeared at the Lonar crater in Maharashtra, an impact crater from an asteroid that had struck the Earth over 50,000 years ago. Why there? She had no idea. Her iPhone buzzed incessantly with notifications from the news outlets she subscribed to. She knew there was something important, but she wanted to finish analyzing Sachin's movements first. After Lonar, he had traveled to Varanasi, which is believed to be the first city in India. She tracked him in and out of various temples and ghats along the Ganges. He had been there for almost a week, sometimes in the river, sometimes in the temples, sometimes just wandering the ghats. What is he doing? Decided to become a sage? She thought with a wry smile. The last ping showed him stationary at the Kashi railway station. Notifications still came. She was sure there was some viral news. Finally, her curiosity got the better of her. She swiped open her phone and her eyes widened in horror. She felt as if her eyeballs were about to pop out of her head. The headlines screamed at her, and then she saw the videos, viral clips of an incident that made her blood run cold, and her hands tremble as she watched the scenes unfold on her screen.
Thank you for watching Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest. Subscribe to stay updated on Sharika's journey. Stay tuned for the next part.
Disclaimer. Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest is a work of fiction. The experiences, ideas, and theories presented by the characters, including the books they write, are purely fictional and do not reflect real-world events, beliefs, or ideologies. While some incidents and characters may be inspired by real-world scenarios, they are entirely fictionalized for storytelling purposes. The author does not endorse or share the viewpoints expressed by any character in this novel. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real events is purely coincidental. Viewer discretion is advised.